Yeah, copy. It's the same shit every week. 4 words from crew chief Jim Pullman over the team radio at Bristol Motor Speedway. And just like that, the entire story of Kyle Busch's 2026 season was out in the open for everyone to hear. Not buried in a post-race press conference. Not softened by a PR statement. Raw, unfiltered, and broadcast to the world. Today we are breaking down 3 things. The radio meltdown that exposed the real mood inside the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Garage. The Riley Herbst retaliation that nearly changed the ending of the race. And the bigger picture of a season that is drifting dangerously off course. The central question is simple. Is this a slump, or is this a sinking ship? To understand why Bristol hit so hard, you have to start with what the weekend meant before the green flag even dropped. Richard Childress himself admitted before the race that the team was missing something, and that both Cup cars were off the pace early in the season. That is not the language of a team that believes a fix is just around the corner. At that point, Kyle Busch was sitting 24th in the standings, with 0 top 10 finishes through 7 races. His teammate Austin Dillon was similarly buried, and neither driver had given RCR anything to build momentum on. Bristol was supposed to be different. Busch has 8 Cup Series wins at the 533-mile Tennessee Oval, more than any active driver in the field. If there was one track where the old instincts and track knowledge could mask the car's deficiencies, this was supposed to be it. Childress said he felt good going into Bristol, and on paper, there was reason to believe chaos at a short track could give the number 8 team a chance. There is also a contract dimension that makes every race in 2026 carry extra weight. RCR announced in May 2025 that it picked up Busch's option through this season. This is the final year of the current deal. Beyond that, 2026 is Busch's first year working with Jim Pullman as crew chief, a championship-winning crew chief who guided Justin Allgaier to the 2024 Xfinity Series title at JR Motorsports. The Pullman hiring was built around leadership and fresh energy. Bristol was supposed to be proof the pairing was starting to click. Instead, it became something else entirely. Busch qualified 29th for the Food City 500 and spent the opening laps exactly where that starting spot suggested, buried in traffic. The number 8 Chevrolet had a persistent handling problem. Busch was specifically asking for help with rear grip, and the car simply could not get into the corner cleanly. By lap 277, crew chief Pullman had run out of patience with the situation. He snapped at spotter Derek Nealand. "What is the freaking problem now? Is the thing sideways or is it plowing? What the FK does it look like?" When Nealand reported the car still wasn't getting into the corner, Pullman pressed harder. "Why? I don't get it. We tightened it up, and why can't it get in the FING corner?" Nealand's response was honest and blunt. "I don't know. I've got a headset on, not a helmet. I don't know." Then came lap 313. Riley Herbst got into the back of the number 8, sending Busch spinning. Eric Jones and others were caught in the crossfire, though all drivers continued. Busch dropped 2 laps down and fell to 26th place, deeper in the hole than before, with no clear path forward. What happened next on the radio is the part that everyone is still talking about. Under the caution following the Herbst spin, spotter Derek Nealand addressed the team directly and tried to keep the group from emotionally collapsing. He told Pullman, "Listen, I know you're frustrated. I don't like running 30th either. But us yelling at each other during the race isn't going to help shit. Like, we've got to keep the glue molded together here. We're all still in it together, and it's not over. We're only barely halfway through this thing." Then silence. Nealand had to follow it up with a direct, "You copy?" Pullman's response came back short and devastating. "Yeah, copy. Just same shat. every week. That is not a frustrated man venting in the heat of a bad moment. That is a crew chief who has stopped believing the problems are going to get fixed. Every word of that exchange tells you something specific. Pullman is out of adjustments and out of answers. Nealand is the last person actively trying to hold the team together. And Kyle Busch, the two-time Cup champion, the driver with 63 career wins, the centerpiece of the entire operation, said absolutely nothing throughout the exchange. That silence is louder than any outburst could have been. Denny Hamlin addressed it directly after the race. Did you listen to the team radio? They had met their fun quota on the day, Hamlin said. Things are not going well in the Kyle Busch camp. They're all searching. That is a rival driver and a team owner summing up the situation without sugarcoating it. With 4 laps remaining and the race nearly over, Kyle Busch made his move. On lap 498, he put his bumper into Riley Herbst's number 35 Toyota, spinning him in turn 1 and bringing out the final caution. Herbst, who had started the race 4th, finished 21st. The timing of the retaliation is what made it so consequential. Ty Gibbs was leading at the time, on course for what would have been a clean first Cup victory. Instead, the caution reset the field and forced overtime. Gibbs had to hold off Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson on a green-white checkered restart with 95-lap-old tires. He managed it, barely, crossing the line just 0.055 seconds ahead of Blaney in the closest Bristol finish in 35 years. But the point remains, Busch's payback nearly erased Gibbs's win before it happened. On one side of the debate, this is simply short-track justice. Bristol has a long tradition of drivers settling scores, and Herbst made contact first. On the other side, the caution came with the race essentially decided, and the consequences were enormous. Hamlin put it plainly. Kyle saw an opportunity, and he took it. Did I have a problem with it? Yes and no, but more no than yes. The deeper issue, though, is that Busch was only in that position to make contact because he spent the entire afternoon as a backmarker. If the number 8 had genuine race-winning pace, none of this storyline exists. The numbers through 8 races in 2026 are stark. Busch has recorded 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, and carries an average finish of 22.0. His Bristol result, 25th place, starting 29th, was his 4th consecutive finish outside the top 20. Following Las Vegas, Darlington, and Martinsville, his winless streak now stands at 101 races. His last Cup victory came at Worldwide Technology Raceway in June 2023. According to historical RCR records, 2026 marks the first time since 1982 that the organization has failed to record a top 10 finish in the first 7 races of a Cup season. Pullman was hired specifically because his Xfinity Championship pedigree and prior RCR research and development background made him look like the right combination of fresh perspective and institutional knowledge. Through 8 races, that combination has not translated into performance. Meanwhile, the rest of the garage keeps moving forward. Tyler Reddick leads the standings with 4 wins. Ryan Blaney is second. Ty Gibbs just claimed his first Cup win. Todd Gilliland drove from 35th to 6th at Bristol. The evidence that our teams are finding speed while RCR stands still is impossible to ignore every Sunday. Busch is out of contract with Richard Childress Racing after 2026. Every race that looks like Bristol makes a clean split at season's end feel more likely, and some already asking whether an early separation could happen before the finale in Miami. Precedent exists. Justin Haley joined Spire Motorsports for the final 7 races of 2024 to prepare for the following season, and Spire is already being mentioned in connection with Busch for 2027. He did not leave Joe Gibbs Racing to run P26 every week with a crew chief and spotter arguing over the radio. A driver with his resume still has options, and both sides of this relationship know it. Kansas Speedway on April 19 is next. A 1.5-mile intermediate track with no chaos factor to mask deficiencies. It is a direct test of raw speed and setup. After that comes Talladega, where drafting dynamics can scramble the order and give any team a surprise result. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Fixing the car setup at Kansas will not fix what Bristol exposed. This is no longer purely a performance problem. It is a confidence problem. It is a communication problem. When a crew chief tells his spotter it is the same situation every single week, no chassis adjustment addresses that. The team needs to believe the answers are actually coming. And right now, based on every piece of audio that leaked out of Bristol, that belief is in short supply. Bristol was not just another bad race for Kyle Busch and RCR. It was the race where the cracks became impossible to hide. So the question now is yours to answer. Is Bristol the true breaking point for Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing? Or is there still a comeback story here? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like if you want more coverage like this. And subscribe to stay with us through every twist left in the 2026 season.